you're in prison, but unlike the backstory, how instead of letting it grind you down, you decided, okay, hang about, I'm here now. I want to be here, and that you created, I think, a blueprint for your life.
Yeah.
Could you tell the audience a little bit of what that blueprint was and
sure.
how it's shaped and still shapes your life?
Yeah, completely. I just decided that I needed to look back on what had gone wrong and what went right.
Right.
And I would use that time to make sure that the rest of my life, I took all my experiences and I used everything that I'd learned up to that point.
Right.
And I would use them to ensure that going forward I knew how to make money, manage it, multiply.
Right.
Just everything in my life that I got wrong and right, I just put to work. So I just started writing down just constantly. You're behind the door for 23 hours in the first prison.
Wow.
You're not getting disturbed, there's no phone calls, there's no worry about if you're getting burgled. You haven't got to stay awake at night.
Right,
You just
you got time on your hands to think.
And that's what happened. I was sitting there and I was thinking, what have I got right now? What's the opportunity? And the opportunity was time.
Right, okay.
So yes, you can't talk to your kids. Okay, so what's the upside of that? The downside is huge. The upside is you use that time.
Right, okay.
And the time was to go through, and I mapped it all out from being a kid all the way through, and then all the strengths and weaknesses going forward.
Right.
And I decided to start putting that to work.
Okay.
From there, I couldn't wait. Once I got it,
you're so excited about it.
Okay. And I could see it would work.
Right.
And I started putting it to work. By the time I got into the third prison, because you get moved around, and it was more open prison. You can speak on the phone a bit more. You can go to the phone when you want.
Right.
Because all I ever done was, I didn't buy things what they buy in there for their themselves. I just bought phone credit for my kids.
Right.
And for work.
Okay. Cool.
And sort of set about it through people that were visiting me. Always find the opportunity. If someone come and was moaning, I haven't got no work.
Right.
Bang, there's an opportunity.
Right.
Go and set them about finding someone who's a JV partner. Okay. So from that, I've done exactly that, and I raised £1.4 million from inside.
£1.4 million from inside the prison.
Yeah,
so, like people say to me, "What's your excuse?" So, would it be safe to say? I mean, I think this blueprint still drives you. Today, and from what I know, you help other people as well, and you give them a blueprint. Would it be safe to say that anybody can create their own blueprint for their life?
Yeah, I think so. I think it comes from, in my life, all the challenges that I've had.
Yeah.
They're a driver.
Okay.
They're a need. You're homeless at 13.
Yeah.
You need to find somewhere to live.
Right. Okay.
You need to keep working. You don't have an excuse. You don't wake up and think I can lie in. There's nowhere to lie in. People want you out of their house. So you use them as your drivers. So I think if you're driven, there's a lot of talk now about your vision. Okay. People tapping into their vision.
Yeah.
And I think that's a driver. What you want to achieve. If you really deeply mean it, you'll go and do it. You'll achieve it. And I think anyone can have a blueprint. Yeah.
And also, you can be doing it while you're working a day job. You don't have to go to prison to develop it.
No, you don't. No. That's not the way
you
forward.
can do it wherever you are.
Yeah.
But sometimes I know that you need a challenge to change you as well.
Yeah.
It's difficult when you in a job which you may or may not like, and you don't want to create things like this, but if you can imagine a better life and create, and also work with inspirational people like yourself,
absolutely.
maybe.
Definitely tapping in. Thank you. Definitely tapping into people is vital. Yeah. But also, you get comfortable. You won't be driven.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
That's that. People say you're. People say that when you have challenges, they feel sorry for you, and it's a downside. Yeah. I don't think so.
You should upside.
Yeah, absolutely. Because without all these challenges, then you're not driven as much. Okay. If you're comfortable in a job, and then you think, I don't want a job. Yeah. But I can't not pay the mortgage. I can't not do this. It's really difficult. Yeah. I think that's more difficult. Being comfortable for me is more difficult.
I hate being comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm quite privileged that people I interview right now are people I know. So it's not the case that I'll give you a text and say, "Are you ready for an interview?" So would you mind telling the audience how did we meet and how, so we actually worked together on some JVs, and how, from where we met and how our relationship developed.
So initially I first became aware of you.
Right, okay.
Because I used to sit
That's
at the back.
That's a good thing, I think.
I used to sit at the back of events and stuff that we were going to, Progressive.
Yeah.
And I would always, the flow of the day would be politely interrupted, and I'd just see your hand going up all the time.
Right.
And then, I'd hear people sitting around going, oh, shit like this. And that entertained me a bit because I just thought, you're always asking questions that are really relevant. And if you don't understand it, I like the way that you just drive someone insane till they break it down.
Right, okay.
It's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
So for me, I like that.
Yeah.
And then I got sort of intrigued by you doing that.
Okay.
And then obviously you developed your name for being a pain in the arse. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I liked the way that everyone was sort of following a certain way of where the models were, but you sort of stood back from it and took a different angle.
Right. Okay.
I was inspired by it. I thought it was very clever.
I always have a rule that I sit at the front, not the back. As I always go to the front. If I don't get a front seat, I'm very disappointed. Okay, brilliant. And then obviously I think also then we went to a speaking course as well. I think we're at the same time. So obviously you talk at property events. I started talking at property events as well, and we got to know each other. And then a bit later on down the line, we've gone to a small JV.
So just to touch on that, because it's important for you to grasp how powerful your brand is and what you're about. For us as well, it was a massive pleasure and honour to do it with you. So the Outer JV came about was me and you were talking about. I think you was asking me some advice at first about how to set it up and how to structure it, what you should be looking for. We were talking like that, and then for me, I just felt like you asked all the questions that need to be asked, and then it clicked, and I thought, do you know what? You could be perfect for us to fine-tune our process. Your process, because you're going to ask every single question
and I did.
in every single way, and that was it. I thought, perfect. You're the perfect person. So we have all different investors from all walks of life, solicitors, footballers, and but for you, with you, there was just you would ask every single question. And it worked perfectly.
Yeah. So you ask the questions which you may or may not have had before, but then for the next investor, you had the answers because I asked those questions. Because for me, I think maybe for audience, there's no set JV. There's so many different JVs, and it can be a bit of a minefield if you don't understand. You can understand about exits, returns, security, all these kind of questions which you may not know of. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to ask that. What happens to that? I think it took a bit of time, but in the end, I think we both got out of it what we wanted.
Absolutely. What underlies that, just to touch on that, in you asking all them questions, that's about the exits and everything else. But what underlies all of that is what you're trying to achieve from it, what your fears are, what you're trying to avoid, and the technical elements of it, or however you want to work it, that's fine. But first and foremost, fundamental to a good JV is understanding what the person wants to achieve from it, what their fears are, what their concerns are, what their experiences, what it means to them, what this money's going to do for them, what they're trying to, all of those things. That's where a good JV lies. Too many times. Starting on a but I'm passionate about the whole JV side of things. It's life-changing stuff, and too many times you hear people talking about, I want a JV partner. When really, they want the money, and then they're going to have to put up with the JV partner.
And their little intricacies. What is that for? Doesn't know what that is. Doesn't know what that is. Oh, the return comes afterwards.
You got. It's important to have a relationship, not just a JV partner isn't someone just lending you money. And that's almost like to use this sort of analogy is, they want the sex, but they don't want the relationship.
Right. Okay.
And then they want to get rid of the person very quickly.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
Okay.
It builds a business and it builds life opportunities when you have a JV partnership relationship.
Okay, brilliant. So, talk about how the past really shaped you, and so I just want to talk about present day. So, also know that your wife and your daughter work in the business as well. So what do they do?
Okay, so there's 4 partners in the business.
Okay.
And they're basically the main
the
directors,
different.
And then Della has always been, working with me on many elements of the business, and so she manages the office and all the admin staff. And stuff.
Right.
And Misha then has worked with me for the last few years. So when I came out of prison,
right,
we had no money.
Okay.
So use the blueprint to do no money down deals.
Okay.
And you come out to lots of issues because the papers wrote loads of stuff about us.
Right. Okay.
So, there's me thinking we're starting a business,
right.
and then Misha's like, we've got a bit of a problem. It says local drug dealer.
Right. Okay. Right.
I'm thinking about business cards.
Yeah.
She's thinking,
what's happened with my business card? Yeah.
So you have all these issues. So me and Misha have done that from the beginning.
Right.
And we effectively. We've done 18 deals in 18 months, 3.25 million with no money down.
Okay.
And so Misha's worked on that with me.
Okay.
And she's working in operational elements of the business.
Right.
And she does a bit of the sourcing side. And
right.
That's what she does.
Okay. So just touch on a little bit of numbers just there. But at the beginning we did talk about how you raised huge amounts of finance.
Yeah.
So to date. Can you tell the audience how much have you raised in finance?
Okay, so I've stopped counting for one.
Okay,
so,
right.
So if you take the award or recognition from Progressive, that was 32, just over 32 million.
32 million, okay.
So that was then.
That was last year. I think
that was
the year.
Last year, yeah.
Last year, right? Okay.
That was the end of last year. Since then, what's shaped the next stage of the business is that we had a JV potential,
right?
Where it was an offer, it was on the table for 100 million.
100 million.
So and the fact that I had to give that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
What did you just explain to what is why you gave that back?
Because fundamental to all our JV partnerships is the relationship.
Okay.
And in the relationship, I need to know what they're trying to achieve.
Right.
And if it's me and you, I know what you're looking to do in your life.
Yeah.
And if I can't provide that for you, I'm not taking it on.
Okay.
So with the 100 million, it was too big.
Right.
But I learned something from it, which was there's a massive market, and we're obviously doing something right. They approached us.
Yeah.
So then that was it. Restructure the business and get it right.
Okay.
Bring in Rowan Courtney, from a corporate world and governance side of things.
Yeah.
And, big business guy.
So what happened? Correct me if I'm wrong. So you've got the potential of some money.
Yeah.
But you weren't big enough maybe to do something with that money. Mm-hmm. Now with a new project, you've grown big enough to take that kind of investment.
So we were able to work with it, and there was opportunities and developments, but we just didn't have the infrastructure to do it.
Right.
And we could have taken it in parts, but that wasn't what the investor was looking for.
Okay.
They want to invest it and do something with it.
Yeah.
It's just too big for us.
Right.
And you find this, people talk about the deal and the money.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you get too much money.
Yeah, beginning of the deals. But I think now we talk about the future. Those deals, you'll bring those deals in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've structured the business now like that, and we're dealing with corporate and higher net worth investors who are that kind of ballpark investment, and then we are building the business to facilitate that, but also so that it doesn't become too big for us.
Right. Okay.
Because we have our goals and our vision of what we want to stay within.
Okay.
And we have to keep it personal as well.
Right. Okay.
And if it goes too big, we lose out.
Okay. So talk about the past, present. So what about the future? What kind of projects have you got in the pipeline right now?
Okay, so actual projects that we're purchasing. We've got one that we're currently working on, which you're involved in yourself. Okay. Great. Which is the Bournemouth project. Yeah. And that's a development of 34 flats. We might take it down to about 29. Okay. Because we might do the top 2 floors as penthouses. It seems to be a big
demand for that, right?
Big demand.
Okay.
We've got a project that we're just in the middle of we're exchanging. We're about to exchange this week.
Right.
2.2 million we bought that. That's going to be 14 flats and 12 holiday apartments.
Holiday apartments, okay. Is that in Bournemouth as well?
No, that's the. I can't tell exactly what it is. I can tell you, but not.
Okay.
Just in case it goes. Yeah, because we have an exchange.
Oh, I see, of course. Yeah.
Then we've got a police station that we're in the middle of.
Police station. And then ironic,
another. We've got another hotel.